We are reading from the Yoga Sutras. This is our online class number 17. We will be studying aphorism number 38 onwards in the first chapter. Now let us begin with the 38th aphorism. It says, Swapna Nidra Jnana Alambanam Va. The meaning is, or by meditating on the knowledge that comes, number one, in dream, number two, in sleep. The aphorism is divided into two knowledges. Swapna Jnanam, dream knowledge, and Nidra Jnanam, sleep knowledge. In this aphorism also, Va means or. This is the sixth alternative. So or alternative means here it is the sixth alternative. And it is still easier than the earlier ones. Naturally, it might take still more time than the fifth alternative. We have seen the first alternative in the surrender to God, Ishvara Pranidhana. Second one was pranayama. The third one, meditation on worldly objects. The fourth one was meditation on the effulgent light. The fifth one was meditation on the heart of holy people. And now the sixth alternative, the meditation on the knowledge of our dreams and deep sleep. This is an easier alternative as we understand, and also a very effective alternative. That is the commentator's explanation. Now we are seeing Swapna Jnanam. Swapna Jnanam means in dream. In dream we have a dream body. We live in a dream world with its objects made of dream material. What is this dream material? It is our mind. In dream, we will not have the external things, external body, sense organs, or external knowledge. But all ideas in the mind at the dream state, appear to be clear for that time in the dream. One can remember and adopt these vivid ideas and contemplate on them. These ideas are called the images of the dream that we will recall after waking up. And we are meditating in the waking state, not in the dream state. That is not possible. Some of us may find it really helpful to meditate on the images of the dream and then make good progress or good success. The yogis say that this kind of meditation can be done in three ways. Number one needs to hold on to such a mental image and meditate on it, thinking that the image is real. This mental image is a Swapna Jnanam, means a dream knowledge. The meaning is that you are meditating on what dream you have seen. That is, you are meditating on the mental construction of some facts called the dream. Then number two, when such meditation on the mental image is practiced for some time, one can be aware in a dream that he or one is dreaming. In the dream itself, you can have this experience that you are dreaming, at the same time you understand that you are dreaming. Your meditation on the dreams will create a samskara that you are practicing meditation on a dream. Your meditation in the waking state on the dreams will create an impression on the mind that you are practicing meditation on a dream. This samskara in the mind is carried over to your dream because it is the mind which is the dream and the dreamer. This carried over samskara or impression helps you to know in your dream that you are dreaming. The third way is so well explained by Swami Vivekananda. He says, sometimes a man dreams that he has seen angels coming to him and talking to him, that he is in an ecstatic condition, that he has heard music floating through the air. He is in the bliss condition in that dream, and when he wakes, it makes a deep impression on him. Think of that dream as real and meditate upon it. Think of that dream as real and meditate upon it. Here we see that the phrase Swapna Jnanam or the dream knowledge means a deep impression or that lesson or knowledge that you derive from the facts of a dream. Like for example, you are not interested in the dream story now, but in the peace or happiness or the sense of security that you gained or that the dream created on your mind. You are concerned about that. This is not talking about the facts of the dream, but the jnanam, the knowledge that you derived, the experience that you valued. That is why you remember it, that you derived from this dream. So that experience. Meditate on that. Suppose you had a dream and you can vividly remember it. You remember that you saw a God in the dream. This seeing God in the dream cannot be carried back to your waking state, because you saw God in the dream with your dream eyes. But your waking eyes are different, made of gross material. They are made of biological things, not mental stuff. You cannot see the same God in your waking state with your open waking eyes. Cannot see that. But you can meditate on that image of that God, what you saw in your dream, or the experience of peace or bliss that you had in the dream. Clear? It is exactly like what we practice during our guided meditation. You think of a fact from your life and you try to meditate on the effect or feeling or experience that that fact created on your mind. The same idea. The fact of the waking state has become a dream now. Some years ago you experienced that. That now you are remembering in your mind in the waking state itself, but it has become a dream to you. Right? So that was all about our meditation on objects from our dream or swapna. Then in this aphorism, Maharishi Patanjali also spoke of meditation on the knowledge of deep sleep, Nidra Jnanam. We have learned that in the waking state, the waker knows itself and also the waking world. In the dream state, the dreamer knows itself and the dream world. But Sushupti or Nidra or deep sleep is a state where the sleeper does not know itself, nor does the sleeper know the truth behind itself. Also, the sleeper does not experience any world or state, because the states take a condensed form of tamas or unknowing. All the attributes of a state remain in a dissolved, dormant form in that condensed ignorance. Still, this state of unknowing is experienced by us. Otherwise, we would not have had a deep sleep state. We do have an experience of deep sleep. The experience of peace or of maximum bliss that is available in a kosha or dress that we had during that sleep. Maharishi Patanjali advises us to meditate on that experience of the state of deep sleep, of the peace which is free from all activities. It is a peace which is free from all activities. That peace we remember after we wake up. Well, deep sleep is a state of condensed ignorance, is a situation which is a situation of not knowing. Then how do we have the experience of peace, a positive experience there? We need to understand this mechanism. I will borrow the detailed explanation of this position from the Vedantic analysis, because we need to understand this idea of the knowledge of deep sleep, Nidra Jnanam. You have asked us to meditate on the knowledge of the deep sleep. What is that knowledge there where the state was dissolved into condensed ignorance? So the scriptures say that in that state, or rather in that situation or position, there are very subtle vrittis which are active. These vrittis are called Priya, Moda and Pramoda. These three types of vrittis are there. I will explain them later. In the discussion of Panchakosha or the five seeds, the Taittiriya Upanishad says that the outermost layer of our body is the gross body, Sthula Shariram, which is made by the kosha or sheath or the covering called Annamaya Kosha. Annamaya Kosha means the material layer, the layer that is made of food. We can see our physical body, that is called Annamaya Kosha. That is the effect of our food. Inside that there is the subtle body, Sukshma Sharira, which is made of three consecutive layers. They are called Pranamaya, Manomaya and Vijnanamaya. The vital layer, the mental layer and the intellectual layer or cognitive layer. Still interior to that is the causal body or Karana Sharira, which is made of the Anandamaya Kosha or bliss sheath. In our Sushupti or deep sleep, we are in the causal body. Suppose we have a lamp inside 5 layers of transparent glass pots. The outer glass pot is the thickest. The successive inner glasses become thinner and thinner up to and including the 5th glass, which is called the causal sheath. 5th glass is called the causal sheath. Now, The light is least visible outside the outer thick glass or gross body, because the light is passing through 5 layers. So at the outer layer, which is also very gross, the light is visible the least. Those who live in the world of the outermost glass are living in the gross body. They are bound by the grossness of things. Each successive interior glass will have more and more light, less and less distance from the lamp inside. The deep sleep body, or the fifth most interior glass, is the nearest to the light. Hence the light manifests itself the most through this layer. Here the inertia of the glass is almost invisible. Hence the light is the maximum. Suppose the inside light is Atman. Then the last or the fifth innermost layer of our body, the causal body, is the most illuminated. It is the most illuminated by the bliss of Atman, the Ananda or bliss. Anandamaya Kosha. Anandamaya means there is abundance of Ananda, there is abundance of light. So Anandamaya Kosha means the most blissful seat or cover. Each and every particle of that glass is illuminated by the light, and those particles transfer that illumination all around. Still, it is not Atman. It is a causal body, a barrier that is to be crossed. Right? Now we said that this Ananda or bliss is experienced by the individual. How? By 3 very subtle vrittis of the mind. The scripture says, Ati Sukshmabhi Antakarana Vrittivi. By very subtle vrittis. These vrittis are special to this situation or this state, deep sleep state. They are called Priya, Moda, Pramoda. I will just read or chant from the Taittiriya Upanishad. It is a wonderful passage, and there are such many wonderful passages. It says in Sanskrit, Tasmad va etasmad vijnanamayat anyontara atma anandamayaha tenaisha purnaha savayesha purusha vidhayeva tasya purusha vidhatam anvayam purusha vidhaha tasya priyameva shiraha modo dakshina pakshaha pramoda uttara pakshaha ananda atma Brahma Pucham Pratishtha. The meaning is like this: of that preceding mental cover, this cognitive or intellectual seat cover is verily the embodied self. As compared with this cognitive body, there is another internal self constituted by bliss. By that bliss body is the intellectual body filled up. This bliss one, as aforesaid, has verily a human shape of the earlier intellectual shape. Of him joy is verily the head, enjoyment is the right side, amusement is the left side, bliss is the self, the trunk, Brahman is the tail that stabilizes everything. I will explain these things. It is the last step of the Panchakosha Vivekaha, separating the 5 layers that cover the Atman. Now we have read from the Upanishad, from the portion dealing with the 4th covering or layer called the Vijnanamaya Kosha or the intellectual sheath. This is sometimes called the Vijnanamaya Atma. This is because the Vijnana, intellectual Atman. This is also not the ultimate self. It is the self which is associated with Vijnana intellect. That is why it is called Vijnanamaya Atma. Like it is you, the Atman, but with a special dress. You are not completely you, but you have a special dress covering you. Inner to the Vijnanamaya Atman is Anandamaya Atman, means blissful Atman, full of bliss. The self with another dress, maybe a finer and more transparent dress. This is also not the pure self or Atman. The word Maya is used, as we have seen, to show a modification. When we say Annamaya, the gross outer sheath, it means modified with Annam or material things. And that is why it has abundance of matter in its composition. Maya means abundance. Pure Atman is not any modification. There is no abundance of matter in that. Whether it is gross matter or subtle matter or causal matter, no matter is there. This Ananda Maya Kosha is also a kosha, a covering of matter in its causal form. It is not pure self because this Ananda in this covering has its limit. It is not unlimited and it is not ultimate. But Atman is Ananda. Ananda itself, bliss itself. There is no question of Maya. Maya means abundance. It is Ananda itself. In this world, every one of us experiences Ananda or happiness in some form or other. Any happiness reflects happiness of myself. Otherwise, the happiness does not come from any outside thing. It is showing the happiness of the self. So any happiness reflects happiness of my Atman, myself. But it is conditioned by the vrittis or thoughts. Vrittis or thoughts belong to the Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha and Anandamaya Kosha. They belong to these three sheaths. That means the mental sheath, the intellectual sheath and the blissful sheath. Sheath means covering, you know. Our vrittis are conditioned by the thoughts of procuring objects or dealing with objects that are separate from us. This way the thoughts are conditioned by objects. So they are called object-oriented thoughts. That is why I experience the conditioned bliss of my own self. It is not unconditioned bliss. It is a bliss conditioned by object-oriented thoughts. Right? The Taittiriya Upanishad says, this Anandamaya Kosha fills the Vijnanamaya Kosha completely. Actually, all the four successive koshas or coverings that come around the Anandamaya Kosha are filled with Anandamaya Kosha. None of them can escape the presence of the most interior one. But the most interior one, the Anandamaya Kosha, the fifth layer inside, inmost layer, is free from all the four outside. Clear? This Anandamaya Kosha or bliss sheath, like all other coverings, is also described as part of or a layer of human structure. They are layers of our individuality. This final kosha or Anandamaya Kosha is there for our own understanding and inspiration. I say inspiration because the yogi feels being pulled, sucked by or pulled to the Atman by the sheer force of so much of Ananda, so much of bliss. This bliss, like love, does not have shape or color or form. It has to be experienced. To be experienced by vrittis which are available in this causal sheath. So the Upanishad says the head of Anandamaya Kosha is Priya Vritti. Moda Vritti is the right side. Pramoda Vritti is the left side. And Ananda Vritti is the trunk of this Kosha. Because it is the identity of this Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha. So that is the heart or trunk. Earlier to that, the Upanishad has said that the support of Vijnanamaya Kosha or the cognitive sheath was Hiranyagarbha, the aggregate of intellectual coverings. Now it says the support of Anandamaya Kosha is Brahman. So the deep sleep state is just after the Brahman, just above the Brahman, nearest. There is nothing more in between the Anandamaya Kosha and the Ananda Swarupa Brahman. Anandamaya Kosha has got more Ananda, and Ananda Swarupa Brahman is Ananda itself, bliss itself. This Kosha is established in the Supreme Brahman, and that means Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman. The general bliss is the Atman. We experience this bliss being conditioned by the vrittis in deep sleep state. These vrittis, Priya, Moda and Pramoda, are Ananda vrittis. They are called bliss vrittis. The Priya, Moda and Pramoda vrittis are different modifications of the experience of bliss in deep sleep. Please remember, we are explaining the second part of the aphorism. It says, meditate on the knowledge of deep sleep, Nidra Jnanam. Sleep experience is the experience of the conditioned bliss, happiness. Let me explain these vrittis. Please bear with me because I am trying to straighten the difficulties about understanding this part of the aphorism. What is this Nidra Jnanam? That is my question. What is this knowledge of the deep sleep? So now we go to the vrittis. They are called the very subtle vrittis. The vritti called Priya Vritti literally means dear. Like in the sentence we use this word dear. John is dear to me. So Priya means dear. Suppose we want to get an object. Why do we want it? Because we love it. It is dear to me. The vritti that arises in the mind because of this loving desire is called Priya Vritti. When we obtain that object, then I feel happier. That happiness is experienced by a vritti which is called Moda Vritti. So, I think of an object which I want, and that creates a loving desire or a little bit of happiness. That is called Priya Vritti. Moda Vritti, when I see that thing. And when I actually get that object, then that happiness is called Pramoda Vritti. These experiences of the three vrittis are the various expressions of bliss, Ananda. Different expressions. Priya is the foundation of Ananda, because your search starts with that. Moda is the right side, Pramoda is the left side of this Ananda. Means Moda and Pramoda are supporting it from both sides. And the central theme of this Atman, of this experience, is Ananda. Bliss, you want bliss, happiness. Now the question will be, do these three vrittis actively participate in the experience? Because we are talking about deep sleep, where everything has taken a condensed form, got dissolved into a condensed form. So are these vrittis themselves active? Do they become active to experience the Ananda? This is a question. See, very tricky question. You are talking about deep sleep when everything has got dissolved into one mass of ignorance. So, how do you experience this Ananda? Do they become active to experience the Ananda? Is there any activity? If you say yes, you are caught up in a very big tangle. Because everything got dissolved, no activity is possible. So the answer is both yes and no. Look at the question, some question we may ask. Does the mirror actively participate in reflecting my face on it? The mirror is reflecting my face. I ask a question. Does the mirror actively participate in the reflection of my face on it? In that process. Does it try to do that? The existence of the mirror leads to the answer. Yes. If I say, if there is no mirror, then my face will not be reflected. This mirror fellow is there. That is why it is reflecting my face. So it is responsible for reflecting my face. If you say like that, then the answer is yes. But if I consider it from the fact that it is I who came to the mirror, then the answer is no. Answer will be no. No, the vrittis do not act themselves. No, there was no action from the mirror. So, it has two ways to look at. The question has two ways to look at it. So, the answer can be both yes or no. Anyway, the experience is recorded. It is recorded because you remember when you wake up that you slept well. Clear? I think it is clear now. So, when you wake up, you have to meditate on that experience of peace. And then the Upanishad goes a bit further. That is not there in this Yoga Sutra, but I want to complete this discussion. The very support of this kosha is Brahman, of this Anandamaya kosha. Brahman is the support, Adhisthana. Brahma Pucham Pratishtha. Brahma is the tail on which everything rests. It is as though Brahman is expressing through the upadhis, Priya, Moda and Pramoda. These are all upadhis, these are all adjuncts, these are all conduits through which the happiness or bliss is manifesting in the deep sleep state, and that we are recording. That is an experience that is recorded in the memory and we are able to remember. If there is no experience, there won't be any memory, and then I cannot recall that experience. There was an experience, that is the proof. And the Brahman, that pure Ananda or bliss, is free from all modifications and changes. With this total and clear understanding, we have to meditate on the experience of Ananda, of the deep sleep. That is called Nidra Jnanam, deep sleep knowledge. Please note that Ananda can be experienced as an object of meditation, maximum up to this depth of Nidra Jnana. Otherwise, you can never objectify Ananda. After this, you cannot. So, this is the last chance for us to experience this Ananda, this bliss in abundance. Not beyond that, because that is the realm of the subject. So objectification is not possible further. Brahma Pucham Pratishthan, all questions of the objectification are dissolved. Brahman is the support, substratum, that is the subject. Just to give a simile After all these discussions, let us try to give a simile to this understanding. I know that my mother loves me. I feel that love when I see her on video. So first thing, I know that my mother loves me. That gives me happiness. Second thing, that I feel that love when I see her on a video. Nowadays you can speak on any app, through on any app, and see the video of your mom. So there is another type of ananda, bit more, that you can see her. And I feel it more when I am with her, right? But that is nothing but objectifying her love towards me, right? I am feeling that love, I am thinking of that love, and I am feeling that love more when I am with her. It is all my experience, and I am objectifying my mother's love. Okay? Beyond that is the realm of mother herself. How she loves me, how does she love me, which I feel as her love. What is her love there? You cannot objectify that. Be a mother and you know. You will know as a subject. How the mother loves you, that is her realm. That is the subject. But still you feel that love. You objectify it. Right? This is the idea of meditation on Swapna, Nidra Jnanam. It is your ananda only, it is your bliss only. But in your deep sleep you experience that too much. And when you wake up, you try to meditate on that. Maharshi Patanjali is advising us to meditate on this ananda, this peace, which we experience in our deep sleep. Remember the feeling or experience of that peace and try to recreate that peace inside you and meditate on that. Meditate on that peace. This will lead us to liberation. This is the sixth alternative of meditation. So, we go to the seventh alternative. The next one, that is the last one, the easier methods, the last one. Yatha abhimata dhyanat va. Still the va continues. Va, or by the meditation on anything that appeals to one as good. Here also va means or. This is the seventh or the last alternative. It is the easiest method compared to all the earlier methods, but it would take much more time than all the six alternatives. In fact, this takes maximum time because you spend minimum energy. We have seen the first alternative in the surrender to God, Ishvara Pranidhana, second pranayama, third Vishayavati, that worldly objects, fourth alternative was meditation on light, fifth one was meditation on the heart of any holy person, sixth one we just finished meditation on the knowledge of dream and deep sleep, and seventh one is meditation on any holy object of your own choice. This is the attitude of a scripture. The scriptures are compared with millions of compassionate mothers together. They, like a mother, would never accept that you fail. They go on encouraging you to take each very easy step that is possible for you, so that you should never quit. You should never quit the effort of standing up, the effort of walking, the effort of running. This is the way of evolution in the mind. This is how the evolution shifted itself from the saturated biological level to the psychological and spiritual level. The push given by the scriptures is to engage you to meditate. Meditate is the instruction or encouragement. On what you meditate does not matter. Of course, we should know that concentrating on any object is not called meditation. That I clarified in the beginning. It is called meditation when you concentrate on a holy object, or at least even when you concentrate on any object for spiritual development or transformation. That is called meditation. Hence, at long last, the yoga teacher allows meditation to be brought down to the level of any object. But the central force should be spiritual progress. The mind is one. If it concentrated on any object, if it can concentrate on any object, it can do that easily on any other object, anywhere, anytime. This is the way to turn the direction of the mind through the path of least resistance. We have a very, very stubborn mind, and that is not easily willing and not open to change even for its own good. This is the truth about the mind. Hence, it is really tough to make it follow directions or instructions. Hence, it is better to allow it to choose its own object and remain satisfied, because its ego will be satisfied. That is the idea. That is why Swami Vivekananda warned us, saying, this does not mean any wicked object, but anything good that you like, any place that you like best, any scenery that you like best, any idea that you like best, anything that will concentrate your mind. That is the idea here. Let us make a very, very short summary of what we have learned so far, because the seventh alternative is done. So what we have learned so far, point by point. Number one, we have seen what is called yoga. Yoga means samadhi. Number two, we have seen this samadhi includes both the lower 6 types of samadhis, samprajñata samadhis, and the higher one called asamprajñata samadhi. So 7 types of samadhis are there. Then number 3, this asamprajñata samadhi can be attained by stopping the smallest units of thoughts called vrittis of the mind from undergoing changes. It has to be stopped. Number 4, when we are able to do that, we will be established in our real nature. Otherwise, the mind will take forms of myriads of things. It will start dancing at every tune, and then it will get tired and retired. Number 5, how to achieve yoga? That was the question. The typical yogic method is by 2 simple practices: practice of samadhi and practice of dispassion, detachment, removing yourself from the obstructions. Number 6, there are also 7 other alternatives offered by Maharishi Patanjali, which we have elaborately discussed. Now we will go to the next aphorism. This is also a very, very wonderful psychological discovery by this great Acharya Maharishi Patanjali. It says, Paramanu Parama Mahatvantaha Asya Vashikaraha. The meaning is, the yogi's mind, thus meditating, becomes unobstructed from the atomic to the infinite. The meaning is, the mind by this practice easily concentrates on the most minute as well as the biggest thing. Thus the mind waves become fainter, finer, Well, this is a phenomenon that one sees and experiences in the spiritual world. There is a saying, one who can do will do everything, one who cannot do will not do anything. So true. Swami Vivekananda said the mind of a monk should be so concentrated that it can be shifted in a moment's notice from meditation to the turmoil of work without creating an iota of disturbance in the mind. The Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna narrated hundreds of such divine sights in the life of Sri Ramakrishna. A man who was one moment so overwhelmed with spiritual fervor or emotion while dancing with music could be just like a stone statue in the very next moment in samadhi. None of these two accomplishments would be unnatural for him or for those who had the blessed opportunity to observe him in these two consecutive states. Once Swami Vivekananda was trekking in the Himalayas, visiting places of pilgrimages. He saw a monk in a cave sitting in meditation. But instead of meditating, the monk was dozing off. He had fallen asleep. Swamiji told his companion, someone should put a yoke on the fellow's shoulder to engage him to a plough. You must have seen a plough. 2 cows or buffaloes are tied to a yoke, a crossbar on their shoulders, and then a plough is fixed to that for tilling the ground, tilling the land. Anyway, the meaning of Swamiji's displeasure was people come to the high Himalayas for solitude so that their meditation or such other spiritual practices are not disturbed. But here this fellow was sleeping. That is why Swamiji once said that it would be easy to become a great yogi in the Himalayas where no situation is available to test his or her spiritual accomplishments. Spiritual accomplishments mean how much control this person has achieved in respect of controlling greed, lust, anger, jealousy, etc. Bring such a person into the situations in the society and see how he or she reacts to the charms of the material objects, oppositions of people, disagreements of your colleagues, disapprovals of the authorities, etc. You will see what happens to the mind, how it reacts. You may be a great yogi sitting alone in the caves where no challenges are being faced. The mind of a real yogi is not disturbed in any situation because of this one quality called Vashikara, or the power of perfect control. Paramanu Mahat, the minutest and the biggest. In between these two, this mind has perfect control. That is what is called Vashikara. Vashikara means perfect control. Sri Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, a great saint of Bengal in India, went to his Guru Keshava Bharati for sannyasa. The Guru tested him if he had controlled his greed or the desire for good taste. So if he has controlled his tongue, there is a saying, Jitam sarvam jite rasai. Everything is conquered if one conquers the tongue. Hold your tongue. Our tongue can be used to satisfy our greed, our lust, our taste, to start a quarrel, to use abusive words, to use beautiful words, to make friendship, for everything. The Guru put some grains of sugar on the tongue of Sri Chaitanya. After some time, he blew air from his mouth on the grains of sugar. And lo, the grains of sugar simply flew away. They were not soaked with saliva. That was the control, Vashikara, conquest. he achieved. A mind which has achieved this Vashikara is able to remain undisturbed in all circumstances. Let me narrate a story. In a monastery, the abbot or the superior monk was known for his spiritual achievements. He was also one of the 4 senior administrative members of that monastic order. This superior monk used to conduct scripture classes on Sundays in the afternoon for the general public. You can imagine that there used to be a big gathering of people to attend his classes. People used to throng on both sides of the pathway he used to take to go to the lecture hall. They wanted to have his darshan and pay their respect from close proximity. One such Sunday, the superior Swami, being accompanied by his assistant Swamis, was going to the lecture venue. In the meanwhile, on the way, the manager of the monastery, a junior monk, appeared. The superior Swami remembered something concerning some problems in the monastery. So he looked at the manager monk and told, "Hello dear, please meet me after I come back from the class. I need to discuss the matter with you." Somehow this junior monk had some misinformation about the matter. He thought that some other Swamis of the monastery gave some wrong information to the abbot about his role in the problem. He developed a sense of guilt within himself, which was irritating him. So he burst out in anger and shouted, "What is there to talk with you? You are a puppet in the hands of some mischievous monks," and so on. There were so many devotees of this abbot around, and also the accompanying young Swamis who witnessed this embarrassing situation. It was so embarrassing for the onlookers. If I were the abbot, I would have felt insulted, humiliated, disregarded, and would have thought that it maligns my public image. This public image would have been our first concern. And to tell the truth, it is our first concern. But there was no change in the facial expression of that great blessed one, that abbot. He looked kindly at the manager Swami and softly said, "You are angry. It is not the time and place to talk with you. We will meet later." The spectators themselves had already started cursing that manager Swami, but it was of no importance for the abbot. He continued on his way to the hall and as usual gave a wonderful exposition of his subject. There was no trace of any kind of disturbance in his mind. He never mentioned about this awkward incident to anybody, nor did he raise this issue to the manager monk when they met later. Vashikara is such a quality, a spiritual quality no doubt. The venerable abbot owned his own mind and was truly a realized soul. Well, let me end the story saying that the manager monk apologized to the superior when they met in private. That is a good quality, no doubt, that he realized his fault and apologized. But, please do not misunderstand me. I am not undermining the manager's humility to apologize, but this should not become our habit. To do wrong in public and apologize privately. We should have that guts to apologize publicly. Unfortunately, this does become a habit for us. This is a thing that escapes our judgment. So we will have more discussion on this topic, this Vashikara. It is a wonderful word wonderful spiritual quality that has been hinted at in this wonderful aphorism. So we need to discuss it more because it has different grades as per the commentator Vyasa. We will talk about that later. We stop here today because our time is up. It will take more time, so I will stop here. We will chant Om once and then Om